Good morning. This is Jayapriya, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Chennai. I am going to explain modes of operation in web security. So, modes of operation in cryptography. Before that, we have to see what is cryptography. Cryptography is the study of secure communication techniques that allows only the sender and the intended recipient of a message to read its contents. That means the prefix script stands for hidden and the suffix graphy stands for writing. Cryptography is the science of secret or hidden writing. It has four basic principles: encryption, authentication, integrity, and non-repudiation. First, we will see encryption. The encryption is to convert the data in some unreadable form. This helps to protect the privacy while sending the data from sender to receiver. On the other side, data can be decrypted and can be brought back to its original form. The concept of encryption and decryption requires some extra information for the encrypting and decrypting the data called key. There may be cases when same key can be used for both encryption and decryption, while in certain cases encryption and decryption may require different keys. We know we are having some plain text. The sender sends the data to the receiver. Sender has to encrypt the data with the key, so it produces the ciphertext. So ciphertext is in the unreadable form. The attackers can't able to read it. Okay, it will be happening in the sender side. They have to encrypt the data with the help of key and produces the ciphertext. Then in the receiver side, the receiver get the decryption. That means ciphertext as the input, and they decrypted the input with the help of key, and they produces the plain text. So encryption and decryption process happening in the for security purpose. So by using this, sometimes we are using same key for the encryption and decryption, but sometimes we are using different keys for encryption and decryptions. So next, this is the first one, encryption. Next we go for the authentication. This is another important principle of cryptography. In a layman's term, authentication ensures that the message was originated from the originator claimed in the messages. That means it has to protect the data from unauthorized users. That is authentications. Next, integrity. This means the cryptography should ensure that the messages that are received by the receiver are not altered anywhere on the communication path. This can be achieved by using the concept of cryptography hash. Sometimes we are sending the data in our communication path, the data can be altered, some crosstalk will be there, some error will be there added. So for avoiding all these things, we have to maintain integrity. Okay, by using integrity, we have to protect the data from adding another extra errors. So like this. Next, we come to non-repudiation. It is the assurance that someone cannot deny the validity of something. Non-repudiation is a legal concept that is widely used in information security and refers to a service which provides proofs of the origin of data and the integrity of the data. Non-repudiation makes it very difficult to deny who, where a message came from, as well as the authenticity and integrity of that messages. Digital signatures can offer non-repudiation when it comes to online transactions. In this context, non-repudiation refers to the ability to ensure that a party to a contract or a communication must accept the authenticity of their signature on a document or sending of a messages. These all things will be happening in non-repudiation. Okay, so digital signatures can offer non-repudiation when it comes to online transactions. For online banking, we are using digital signatures, right? This all will be in the non-repudiation process. Next only, we are going to see modes of operation in cryptography. So types of modes of operation, there are 5 types of modes of operation: electronic code book, cipher block chaining, cipher feedback mode, output feedback mode, counter mode. First, we are going to see electronic code book mode and cipher block chaining. These two comes under block mode. These two comes under blocking mode. Stream cipher and big block cipher are there. Electronic code book and cipher blockchaining comes under block cipher. And the cipher feedback mode, output feedback mode comes under stream cipher. So electronic code book and cipher blockchaining comes under block cipher. So block cipher means it is divided into number of blocks and it performs operations on each block independently. So it doesn't depend on another block. So that is electronic code book. That means the block cipher, each block is divided into different number of blocks and it performs operations on each block independently. Next, stream cipher. When we comes to stream cipher, what will be happening here means it is divided into, that means the text is divided into stream of bits. It performs operations of each bit and it will transfer to another stream. This will be happening in the stream cipher. So first we will go for the electronic code book. In this we know we studied already, it comes under block cipher. So let's discuss what is block cipher again. Encryption algorithms are divided into two categories based on the input type, that is block cipher and stream cipher. Block cipher is an encryption algorithm which takes fixed size of input, say B bits, and produces a ciphertext of B bits again. If input is larger than B bits, it can be divided further. For different applications and users, there are several modes of operations for a block cipher. Electronic code board is the easiest block cipher mode of functioning. It is easier because of different encryptions of each block of input plain text and output is in the form of blocks of encrypted ciphertext. Generally, if a message is larger than B bit in size, it can be broken down into a bunch of blocks and the procedure is repeated. So look at the procedure of ECB is illustrated below. Encryption and decryption process. The encryption, so we studied already, it is divided into a number of blocks and each block performs different operations. So here the blocks are divided into P1, P2 up to Pn. So our input is plain text. That means P1 is the plain text. Plain text P1 is the plain text 1, P2 is the plain text 2, and P3 is the plain text 3. It will be going on up to Pn. So first take the plain text P1. We have to take the plain text P1 and we have to encrypt the data with the help of key. It produces the output ciphertext C1. Okay. Next takes the another plain text. Here also we have to encrypt the data with the help of key and it produces the ciphertext C2. So next the P3 will be there. Same ciphertext C3 will be produced. It will be going on like this up to Pn. Next, what will be happening in the decryption side? Okay, here the input is the ciphertext. We have to decrypt the ciphertext with the help of key and produces the output. That means original output plain text P1. Same thing will be happening for the next block also. C2, we have to decrypt the process, decrypt the ciphertext with the help of key and it produces the plain text P2. We got the original plain text. It will be happening up to Cn. So we have to decrypt it and we have the help of key and it produces the plain text Pn. So it will be going on like this. So finally, we have to see what is the advantage and the disadvantage in this. So advantage means how we can say advantage of using electronic code book. Parallel encryption of block of bits is possible. Thus it is a faster way of encryption. That means the main thing is faster way. Simple way of block cipher. So this is easiest way. Simple way of block cipher. Next, come to disadvantage. Prone to crypto analysis since there is a direct relationship between plain text and the ciphertext. That means, so it is divided into a number of blocks. So if you are having one plain text, we are using the same key for every text. For every plain text we are using the same key, means what will be happening? It produces the ciphertext that also same. If the plain text content is same, means the ciphertext content is also same if the key is same. So this is the advantage. If they get the one key, means they can, if the attackers can get one key, means for them easy to find all the ciphertext. This is the disadvantage of using ECB. Okay, so for avoiding this, for overcoming this, we have to go for next blockchaining, that means cipher blockchaining. Cipher blockchaining or CBC is an advancement made on ECB since ECB compromises some security requirements. You have studied in the ECB itself, right? So in CBC, previous cyber block is given as input. Here, cyber blockchaining, we have simply called it as CBC. Previous cyber block is given as input to the next encryption algorithm after XOR with the original plain text block. In a nutshell here, a cipher block is produced by encrypting a XOR output of previous cipher block and present plain text block. See, look at the diagram, we can understand it very easily. The process is illustrated here. There are two processes, encryption and decryptions are there. Encryption process, what are the plain text are there? P1 same like the previous one, P1, P2 up to Pn. So we have to XOR with XOR, we have to give some XOR operations with the key value and we have to encrypt it. It produces the ciphertext C1. The output of the ciphertext is given as the input of the next XOR value. Okay, the output of the ciphertext is given as the input of the next XOR value. Here in the plain text P1, we are given this plain text to the XOR. For the XOR, we have to give two inputs. First one is the plain text and another one is the initialization vector. So we are giving two inputs. It produces the output. That output we will be given to the encryption data, encrypted with the help of key. It produces the ciphertext C1. So IV is initialization vector. That means we have to take the initial value. That is the initialization vector. Next, come to the output. The output of the first block. That means ciphertext C1 is given as the input of the second one. Take the plain text P2 here. Then we have to take the out P2 and the output of the C1 is given as the input for the XOR, and then we have to encrypt it with the help of key and it produces C2. So in the first plain text only we have taken initialization vector. Initialization vector we have randomly taken the values. So but for the next XOR what we are going to do, we are going to take the output of the first block. That means C1 we have taken as the input of C1 as the input for the XOR and the other input is P2. Okay, it will be going on up to Pn. So this is the thing happening in encryption. Next, decryption. What will be happening for the decryption? So here we know for decryption process, ciphertext is the input. So ciphertext we have first C1 is the input. We have to decrypt the data with the help of key. Then again we have to XOR with what is the data we have decrypted, that value and the initialization vector we have taken. It produces the plain text. Initialization vector in the encryption process also we have seen, and in the decryption process also we have seen. At the first block we have given in initialization vector. Next, when going to the next block, what will be happening? Same ciphertext 2. We have to take given the ciphertext to decrypted with the help of key, and the decrypted text is given to the input of the XOR, and another input is coming from the previous block. That means ciphertext, and we will be given this input to the XOR. It produces the plain text P2. So it will be going on like this. So the first one only here decryption also, here we are using the cipher initialization vector. It will be going on like this. So up to Cn we have to do this process and we will get the output. So what will be happening if we are, but here the one block is dependent on another block because we have taken input as the output of the previous block. That is the input we are using here. So we will see the advantages and the disadvantages of CBC now. Advantages of CBC. CBC works well for input greater than B bits. CBC is a good authentication mechanism. Better resisting nature towards crypto analysis than ECB. Then we'll come to disadvantages of CBC. Parallel encryption is not possible since every encryption requires previous cipher because we need the output of the previous one. So here parallel encryption is not possible. If parallel encryption is not possible, then it will be somewhat slow. Parallel connection is always faster. So if parallel encryption is not possible, it will be slower. Okay, when compared to the first one. So this is the disadvantage. To overcome this, we are going for the next mode, that means cipher feedback mode. In this mode, the cipher is given as feedback to the next block of the encryption with some new specifications. First, an initial vector ID is used for first encryption, and output bits are divided as sets of SAN bits, and the left-hand side S bits are selected and are applied on XOR operation with the plain text. The result given as input to a shift register, and the process continues. The encryption and the decryption process for the same is shown below. Both of them use encryption algorithm. Okay, look at the diagram. The process is illustrated here. The encryption process, initialization vector is the first value. So we know initialization vector, we have taken that value randomly, and we have given this value to encryption process with the help of key. Then we have given it to the S bits, B bits. Then the output is given to the XOR operation with the help of plain text. Then it produces the ciphertext. So next what we are going to do, we are going to take the output, that means the first block output is given to the input of the shift register. That means shift register, we know it is a 64 bits. Shift register is a 54 bits. We are given this output to the shift register, that means shift is 64 bits. That is to be encrypted with the help of key. Then here also it produces S bits, BS bits. This output will be given to the XOR with the help of P2, that means plain text P2. It produces the ciphertext, that means C2. So it will be happening up to N processes. Okay, so until we get the ciphertext N, we have to continue this process. In the first process only we have used initialization vector. The next one we didn't use initialization vector. This process will be happening in the encryption side. The same thing is going to be happening, little bit only changes in the decryption side. We will see initialization vector here also as the input. We have to encrypt the key with the help, encrypt the data with the help of key. It produces the S bits and same BS bits. Then the output is given to the XOR gate. Here it produces the PN operations. So we have to start from here right to left. In the encryption process, we have to start from left to right. But here we have to start from right to left. So the XOR operation, we have given one input as the C2 and another input is the S bits, B bits. Whatever the data is encrypted, we have given that data. So we have to get the plain text finally. So next we will be continuing up to the first block itself, first stream itself. We have to continue. We have already studied, this is a CFB is a stream cipher. Stream cipher means each text is divided into stream of bits and it performs operations on one stream and the output is transferred to the another stream, right? Here we will see the advantages of CSV. Since there is some data loss due to use of shift register, that it is difficult for applying crypto analysis. Disadvantages of CSV, padding, because in the shift register it will add the data, right? Shift register is 64, so we have to add the 8 bits at the last. So this is the disadvantages of padding, CFB. That means padding, adding data. So next we go for overcoming this, we will go for the output feedback mode. The output feedback mode follows nearly same process as the cipher. Feedback mode except that it sends the encrypted outputs as feedback instead of the actual cipher, which is XOR output. In this output, feedback mode, all bits of the block are sent instead of sending selected S bits. The output feedback mode of block cipher holds great resistance towards bit transmission errors. It also decreases dependency or relationship of ciphertext on plain text. See, looking at the diagram, we can easily see here. The next one is the counter mode. Look at the diagram, encryption, decryption. counter 1 is there, we have to encrypt the data with the help of key, and we have to XOR with the encrypted value with the plain text. Next, what it will be producing? It will produce us the ciphertext C1. The same thing will be going for the counter 2 also. Counter 2, it will encrypt the data, and here also with the help of key, it produces the output. We have to given the output to the XOR. So with the help of plain text P2, it produces the ciphertext. So same thing will be happening up to the last. Okay, so first we start from the counter 1 and counter 2 and up to counter n. Next, the counter 1 produces encrypting the data with the help of key. Then with the help of plain text, we have to XOR with, and it produces the ciphertext. This is the thing happening in the encryption process. Next, when we come to decryption process, counter 1, that is, we have to set the counter in the counter thing. So counter 1, we have to encrypt the data with the help of key. Then the output of the encrypted data is XOR with the ciphertext. It produces the plain text. It will keep on going like this. For counter 2 also, we have to take like this, encrypted the data with the help of key, and we have to XOR with and C2, and it will produces the plain text P2. Next one, counter n, we have to encrypt the data with the help of key. We have to XOR with, and with the XOR with the help of ciphertext n, it produces the plain text Pn. So next, counter mode or CTR mode is a simple counter based block ciphers implementation. Every time a counter initiated value is encrypted and given as input to XOR with plain text, which results in cipher block. The CTR mode is independent of feedback queues, thus can be implemented in parallel. So let's see what is the advantages and disadvantages of this. Hardware efficiency. The hardware that we are using here should be very efficient. So if the hardware is efficient, means software also efficient, then we can protect the data safely in this way. So we have studied so many types of protecting data. Protecting data, we can do many things. Brute force attack, we have studied. Brute force attack, what does it will do? We are guessing the keys and using alternative keys and using software tools. Guessing, for example, if you are using the password 1-digit number, so how the brute force will guess the key? 1 digit means it will try for 10 combinations. That means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10 combinations are there. So if you want to open a bank account, if you want to open like this, they will suggest us to keep the strong password. That means we have to use uppercase, we have to use lowercase, special characters, everything we have to use. So they will suggest us to keep the strong password. Why means the attackers, that means the attackers can't be able to get our data easily. But the brute force, we have to, by using these modes of operation, we will protect the data from unauthorized users from brute force attack. Sometimes when we are opening the bank account, there we can see captchas are coming. What is the purpose of captcha? Why they are using the captcha? Because brute force attack, we know the software tools are automatically generating some thousands of password, thousands of trying password. So for the softwares, it is easy to identify the password. So for making the automation tools to stop, that's why the most confidential purpose they are keeping captcha. What the captcha will do, they will differentiate humans and the software tools. So for that, they are providing captcha, means, for example, mathematical captcha is there. They will give, simply do some calculation, 5 plus 7, we have to give 12, but the software the software can't be able to do because it doesn't think, right? So if it is humans, means they will able to type the captcha. Sometimes there will be a image captcha, sometimes there will be a mathematical captcha. So many captchas are there. For avoiding all these things, we are using this captcha for mainly for security purpose. Here also we are using different modes of operations. So what are the things we have seen? advantages, block cipher modes of operation, then their operations, disadvantages, advantages. So block cipher comes under block cipher mode, where then cipher feedback mode. Next we have seen the diagram, output feedback mode, the output we are given as the input. Next counter mode we have given. The counter mode, it will be implemented by each, the counter is implemented by one, counter 1, counter 2 up to counter n. So we have to encrypt the data with the help of key. So it will be going on like this up to nth data. So in the decryption process also same thing happening. Counter 1, we have to encrypt the data with the help of key, and it produces the output, and it should be XOR with the ciphertext, and it produces the plain text. So the same thing will be repeated up to counter n. Then here we have seen the advantages, hardware efficiency, software efficiency, and security. That's all about the modes of operation. Thank you.